Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next couple hours, along with Nick.
Good morning.
Good morning. And Katie's here.
Good morning.
Good morning. And Gal is back. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. The reason, let me
Christmas.
take that out. Yes. Okay.
Merry
Good
Christmas.
morning. Good morning.
Wow. They must be really ahead of the schedule up there in Alaska if it's already Christmas. Wow.
Well, it was in front of the Christmas cabin, and I think it's very important that I show this.
All right, let me
picture.
finish this. And our number is 919-518-9773. Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by vMix Software and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. Make it big.
Yeah. So
Make it big.
I was in Alaska, and I actually met
and
Spence.
enlarge it.
Enlarge it. Let's
So we can
Enhance.
go.
Enhance.
Enhance.
Yay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I trust it. It might be a photoshopped image still.
It's a deep fake. It's an
A
AI
deep fake.
generated.
Yep. I'll believe it when I see him in person.
And then you'll say he's just a video generated.
Yeah,
AI.
he's just an AR. I put my Oculus on. He's an AR robot.
Max,
Yeah,
he's
we
a-
have an
he's
ongoing
Max heavy.
joke where Katie does not believe Spence exists. So until Spence shows up, here's an image.
So last week we did specials as we do each and every week. And I had a deal on there for a battery bank. It's a 3,000 milliamp charger. This thing was a beast. It was on sale for
30,000.
30,000 milliamp charger. It's normally a $60 device, and it was on sale for $25. So I bought one because why not need something like this? This thing is heavy, and it is a big. This thing is a unit of a battery bank. It's got to weigh close to 4 pounds, if not more. This is the 30,000 milliamp hour ROMOS power bank. It took about maybe 4, 5, 6 hours to charge up completely. I didn't have it on a fast USB-C charger. This is a serious device. I read through the reviews on it. TSA doesn't seem to mind it. And it'll charge an iPhone like 6 times or something like that. So it's a beast of a device.
That's what I was about to say. You said about 4 to 5 hours. So
It wasn't
an
fully. It
iPhone-
wasn't dead.
Yeah, but an iPhone is 4,000 something, right? Milliamps.
Yeah, something like that.
So that's still fast.
No, you're right. I'm sorry. 4 Nintendo Switches, it'll charge an iPhone 12 and a half times.
Right.
Apparently. So, yep, pick that up. Like to. Haven't obviously used it yet, but I have it now. So,
If we're talking about things that we got on specials that are amazing, I use that speaker every day, and I have yet to need to charge it. Like,
yeah, right.
that thing's insane. And I'm like, one day it'll run out of batteries, but that's not today.
That's
And even when it
awesome.
runs out of battery, like I've had it die when I was in the shower before, and it does like its little like it makes a little noise and it shuts off.
Yeah.
You can turn it back on and you'll get like another 8 or 9 minutes. So like even though it's like it warns you it's dead, it'll come back for like a little bit of time.
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah, I've been really enjoying it.
So, what else is going on?
So I updated my phone. I've got an iPhone to the iPhone iOS 16.
Oh,
Mhm.
me too.
And I don't know if it yeah, the screen's too bright. I don't know if you could see it. But I love the fact that on the home screen now or the lock screen or whatever, you can show the weather, the temperature.
Yes, that's what I've got.
And I feel like one of the first shows that I was on here, I complained about how frustrated I was with Apple that it's 2022. Yep, that's exactly what I have. That's the
Yeah.
exact same screen.
So this is the new iOS 16 lock screen, and you can see the weather is right there on the home screen. And I've got the weather in a calendar.
That's
Oh, you
I have
mean-
the exact same setup, and it is.
And I know Gal's
absolutely
over
amazing.
here like, we've had this since 2012 on my Android.
Why
we know, Gal.
2012? Why not 2008?
I agree. Honestly, it's so stupid why it took this long to do it. And but for those that haven't upgraded their iPhones yet, if you have an Apple Watch, it's the same kind of technology when you change the faces on your Apple Watches. There's less like with the Apple Watch, there's a lot of different kind of customizations you can do, but it has that same face kind of thing where you can hold down on the screen and switch through your faces that you put on your phone. But
Have
yeah,
you texted anybody yet, Katie, with the removable message?
no. Wait, what do you mean?
You can unsend. So I'm going to text you right now. Don't look at your phone. Apparently,
Okay.
you can unsend a message.
What?
Yeah. So
Huh.
I just texted you.
Oh, so
and it
you
says
can-
delivered.
Can you
An iMessage, you mean?
So
Yeah,
don't look
and
at
I'm gonna
it.
I'm gonna do undo send. And do you have a message from me?
Oh, let me see. No.
Yeah, there you go. Boom.
What happens if you do it after the person saw it?
No, if they've already seen it, they've seen it. But
Oh yeah,
like,
that's true.
Oh
It's
wait, no,
never-
no, no. I did get it. But it said that Nick unsent a message. Like I get a
Yeah.
notification that
yeah,
says
there you
that.
go. So yeah, it's
Yeah,
pretty
so
neat.
that's
feature.
Yes,
like
so-
other instant messages,
Facebook
right?
and
WhatsApp,
WhatsApp, yeah.
Facebook, yeah.
So you know what that's going to create. Somebody's doing this, and then the person who got that message is going to pick up the phone to call the person who sent the text and says, "What happened?" Because now they
Well, first
they
of all-
really want to know why did he unsend it.
Yeah, well, you send like a link that you didn't mean. You send like you're trying to send somebody a link and you accidentally send the.
Right, but
It
the
didn't
other
copy your clipboard. You unsend it and then send the right one.
yeah, but the other person doesn't know that. And
Actually, will probably be good for Apple Pay because I was doing Facebook Marketplace and showed up with my item I was selling to this woman, and we were gonna do Apple Pay, and she got frazzled, and I gave her my phone number to do the Apple Pay, whatever, to send me the money for the item, and she sent it to the wrong person. And before I could correct her, she just like sent it, and then she was like, "Oh no, I sent it." And she couldn't get it back. So they send it through like a text message to the person they're sending the money
Yeah.
to or whatever. So I was like, maybe this will be an easy way for people to get their money back if they accidentally sent it to the wrong person.
Did you get your money?
Yeah, no, I got the money.
Oh, okay.
And she ended up she said that she was able to get the money back. Like apparently the person didn't open the text message or whatever, and she had to go through like all these hoops to get Apple to cancel it or whatever. But she did it so fast I couldn't correct her. Like I said my phone number and then she put it in her phone and she's like sent. And then she's like, "Oh no, I sent it to the wrong person."
Oh my god, I can't believe this happened. Wow.
I know.
So, in news this week, I think the most interesting thing for me and for other people who are into hardware, it seems like what about the two? Let me see if I find it. The two cryptocurrencies that
Oh yeah,
went together.
Ethereum and or no, I'm sorry, Tether. It was two, I don't remember exactly which two
But,
merged.
Two of the big ones.
Well, they're not the big ones. They're larger ones, and
Well,
they did merge.
But they were saying that at this point, it's not worth anymore to mine with GPUs. It makes it so it's not. It's
Yeah,
not,
it was Ethereum. It was Ethereum, and they merged with a another crypto, and apparently now they're one and the same.
So
I
yes,
think, I think there is a bit actually more interesting about Ethereum, but I'm not sure it's from this week. It might be from a past couple of weeks. And is the update Ethereum had not too recently ago. So one of the most interesting, I think that's the most interesting aspect right now in crypto. Ethereum updated the way it does proof of transaction. It used to be an algorithm called proof of work, and now it has a different name, proof of claim or something like that. I might be taking, don't if you want to search the news about Ethereum algorithm update. I don't have the details, but the gist of it is they have reduced energy consumption for that action, which is the most prevalent action in the crypto ledger, by 99%. So they're talking about one of the biggest complaints about cryptocurrencies is that they're not sustainable in the long run because they require a lot more energy than they're worth, and by using that amount of energy, we're not only the currency isn't sustainable versus the energy cost, but there's also the excess of fossil fuels that are being used. So it's also hurting the environment. And suddenly, that is no longer the case with Ethereum. Now, Ethereum isn't the number one, right? Bitcoin is still number one. And I don't think Bitcoin is going to be able to be updated like that. But it is an interesting twist.
Well, that's
in the
not.
story.
Yeah, but that's nice. But this is not what I was bringing up. The article, the author says, just one day after the Ethereum merge, where the crypto coin successfully switched from proof of work to proof of stake.
Oh, yeah,
profitability of GPU mining has completely collapsed. That means the best graphic cards should finally be back where they belong, in your gaming PC, just as God intended. That is a quick drop, considering yesterday there were still a few cryptocurrencies that were technically profitable. Looking at what to mine and using the standard 10 cents per kilowatt hour, the best case results were with the GeForce RTX 3090 and Radeon RX 6800 and 6800 XT. Those are technically showing slightest positive results to the tune of about 6 cents per day. And after power costs, and that doesn't factor in the cost of a PC, power, or the wear and tear on your graphics card. So that's one thing that has dropped GPU. Second one, and that's a little bit more kind of disturbing, is the fact that EVGA, right?
Yeah, I've got. This
Okay,
is
go
a
ahead.
wild
Yeah,
story.
go ahead.
Out of the blue, yesterday, there was 3 YouTube videos that all went live at the same time. One was Gamers Nexus, who's actually based in Raleigh. Another guy named Jay's 2 Cents, and a third guy I don't remember. and they reported that EVGA is done making GPUs.
Right.
Which is, by the way, 80% of their business. I've always purchased EVGA cards. I love EVGA. 1070 right now. I was scoping out a new EVGA card. And the reason they're claiming that they're stopping production is that their partnership with NVIDIA has gotten to a point of no return. And the CEO of EVGA said, I'm done kind of dealing with NVIDIA. They're not a good partner. They're making it really tough for us to operate as a business. And we're done selling their GPUs. EVGA was the largest producer and seller of NVIDIA graphics cards. And as of once their current supply is gone for the 3000 series, they are not producing any more cards for the 4000 series or the 5000 series as it stands right now, which most people believe is going to put an EVGA completely out of business because it's literally 80% of their income. So wild story.
But that makes no sense. Why would they do that? Like what?
The CEO said it. Apparently, there was a small meeting with a couple of tech journalists, and I'll throw a link in the chat for it. It's a good video to watch. He just said that the relationship was just so bad that he no longer wants to work with NVIDIA, and he's essentially willing to essentially sacrifice the company for it.
I don't know if that's going to be possible because I don't know if it's a public traded company or whatever.
It's not.
Oh well, maybe I guess
that can happen with a private company.
So apparently they're running into the problems. Like, for example, NVIDIA announces that they're coming out with a new card. They're coming out with the 4080, let's say. EVGA, which is their highest inventory pushing partner, doesn't find out the MSRP for the card until the public does. So they are having to manufacture and now NVIDIA makes the chip, EVGA makes the heat sink and the power consumption and all of that stuff as the third party. But NVIDIA also apparently is putting limits as to how high a price a card can sell for. So like if they make some crazy special edition card with a built-in water block and all this stuff, EVGA has set NVIDIA has set a cap as to how much they can sell a card for. And now that NVIDIA is making their own cards known as the founder editions, they're undercutting what any of the third parties can sell the card for because they have to make a profit on top of what EVGA or NVIDIA sells them the chip for. So apparently NVIDIA apparently is just a really crappy company to work with. And they've decided that they're done. They don't want to do it. Which is a huge, like a massive thing. Like I can't stress how many EVGA cards are on the market right now and are going to continue to be on the market. I mean, it's wild.
Yeah,
it's absolutely wild.
I think mine is an EVGA.
It was like kind of I wouldn't look at anything besides an EVGA. And now I'm kind of torn as I'm buying a new card or I'm looking at buying a new card. Do I get an EVGA?
Oh, I mean, I'm sure it'll be fine, Nick. I mean, the only thing
well, the problem is in 3 years, if I need something with it, is there any support?
Yeah, driver updates and stuff like that.
Well, the good news is the driver updates are done through NVIDIA. So that's good on that regard.
Nick,
but in 3 years, if I need something with the card, there's nobody to call potentially.
Nick, when is the last time you kept a video card for 3 years?
The card I have right now is at least 3 years old.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Mine's 10
The
years
machine I'm
old.
running on is 6 years old.
The one I'm running?
And the one I'm running.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know. Mine is also an EVGA. It's a 1050? Yeah. 1050. So I don't know how old it is, but it's
I don't think
quite a
mine
few
is
years.
EVGA.
So if I'm still blown away that they're basically, they hate their relationship with NVIDIA so much that they're basically shutting down their company. I mean, unless they could figure out a way to replace Nvidia?
Well,
Like, what
let's be
about
fair.
AMD?
Let's
So
be
that's
fair.
the other
This
part of the
is
story. In that interview, they were asked, what about Intel, who is now coming out with their Intel Arc cards, which are
Mhm.
brand new, and AMD? And the CEO essentially said, we don't plan on working with any of them. They seem to want to be out of the GPU market, which is,
And they can make other type of cards.
well, they said,
I mean,
but they also
but
said
yeah.
they're not expanding their business.
Yeah.
So it's very weird. Now, the CEO was speaking in Mandarin, so it was through a translation, and it's possible that something was the tone of
Lost.
something
Yeah.
was lost during the translation. But
Mhm.
from the 3 videos I watched, because I watched all 3 of the tech YouTubers kind of rundowns that were in the room, they all seem to indicate the same thing. 80% of their business is going to go away. They don't plan on firing any staff, but they don't plan on expanding. So I don't really know what they're planning.
Well,
I have
I
no
would-
well,
idea.
they don't plan on expanding to other GPUs. We don't know their plans.
No, they said they don't plan on expanding or bringing any new products to line.
Right.
Well-
But so here's the thing, right? I agree with you. It's a huge bang, a huge noise. But at this point, it's just noise because it'll take time until we actually see the effects and understand what this actually means. And second, this is a privately owned company, and this was a conversation with the CEO, right? An old man who's talking about slowing down. So I'm not dishing him personally in any way, but what I'm saying is I don't know if this is the first time that even his company is hearing about this, if you understand what I'm saying. So this just might be like a loose cannon talking out of his ass just because he's tired and frustrated and he decided to create some media noise, right? But it's not necessarily reality yet. I'm not saying that won't happen, and I'm not saying that won't happen at all, but it seems to me that there's some pressure, and this is also his way of applying pressure back, right? And this blow up, this interest in it will be what he needs to bring Nvidia back to the negotiation table and
Maybe.
break them a bit. It
Yeah,
seems
now-
it feels like a negotiation tactic more than anything else.
It's also important to note that the CEO of EVGA is older. He's in his mid to late 60s now. Nvidia's been building cards for like 25 years. And he, part of the interview, said he wants to spend more time with his family, and also he doesn't want to sell the company. I think he is going to allow this company to disappear with a prideful, in a good manner, with a going out on top rather than getting absorbed by somebody else and letting the name get tarnished. That's kind of what
Or
it seems
we'll
like.
hear that he's kicked out, right? That can happen as well.
Yeah,
I mean,
what-
I know he's
what about his
privately owned, right? But that doesn't mean he doesn't have a board of directors.
Yeah. So what
so-
about his employees? And I'm sure.
He
Exactly,
says that he's
exactly.
keeping his employees
Yeah,
on
but-
right now. But yeah, well, and that's the thing, is now you're talking about, are you allowing your pride to ethically, ruin people's lives?
Dude,
yeah.
well, is the company's not based in the U.S., is it?
Yes.
It is.
Yeah, they are
It
based in
is?
California. They have a big
Yeah.
Taiwan. They have a big operation in Taiwan as well.
Because
They're not. Let me say this, by the way, too. They're not a big company. They've only got about 200 employees. So
Oh.
they're not like huge. 200 employees is a lot of people, but it's not, 1,000 or 2,500 people that are potentially on the hook here. It's a relatively, for what they do, it's a relatively small company.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what the labor laws are like or whatever, but I know that for a public trading company, when the CEO comes out and says something crazy and takes the value of the company, there's like legal action that whoever could take against this craziness. And I
There
don't
will be
know.
Right,
no
that
legal
doesn't
action.
apply here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nothing that this could do. And
But-
it just sounds like he from, and Gal, I agree with you in some aspects of potentially bargaining chip to bring NVIDIA back to the table. But it also seems like he just would rather allow his company to just fade away in at the top of the mountain instead of having somebody else acquire them and just tarnish the name, which is a wild way to
Yeah,
operate a business. But
I mean, I can understand that, but I also understand that even if that's the case, right? And even if that's his plan, I'm saying it's not necessarily what will be the outcome.
true.
Because even in a privately owned company, right, the majority shareholder can be kicked out, right? He's still not alone in this. It's not him, it's him and 250 other people, right? And he definitely has some, I mean, anybody here watch the show Succession, right? This is like any business is run by a group of people, never a single person. And so if a single person has actions, it will affect it, but it might affect him as well, right? We do have some physics here. The force you put in is what you get hit back with. So I don't know. It's it's too early. It's an interesting twist, and this is something to watch. And it's definitely high drama, but we don't know where this is going. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, give that video a watch sometime today. Gamers Nexus put it out, and it's a long video. It's about 30 minutes, but it sets a very interesting stage. And yeah, I agree. What is the blowback going to be from these other partners? What is MSI going to say? I think the second biggest behind EVGA was either Gigabyte or Asus. And those companies though have a much wider selection of products than EVGA does. EVGA sells power supplies, a couple of peripherals, but a majority video cards. These other companies have got different things that they've got a different marketplace. So it's going to be very interesting to see what comes of this. But a huge news in the hardware space.
Yep.
It's it kind of almost sounds like unionizing with companies. So like if NVIDIA, if they're treating EVGA like this, I'm sure they're treating their other ones the same way, or maybe who knows. And so they're like, fine. The EVGA is like, nope, screw you guys. Come join me. They're like striking, and then the other companies will strike, and then maybe they're hoping that NVIDIA will get their crap together.
Right. Now, Asus and MSI publicly traded in Taiwan, right?
Yeah.
So they can't pull any shenanigans like this.
Well, they can. They could cancel. They could cancel a relationship.
They can, but I mean, making this accusational and all that, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna hurt their business more than and just coming out. It can't be out of the blue in a public company. So,
true.
So that's why I'm saying, because this is a private company, right? We really need, as consumers, I'm not talking about business partners and all that. Business partners, they are in a completely different predicament. But as consumers, I don't think EVGA is going anywhere. I don't think EVGA GPUs are really going anywhere, right? And the end result will be that part of the outfit will probably just change the name, be part of a different brand, and that'll be the end of it. So it might not be called EVGA anymore, but it my guess is that will just duplicate to something completely different. It's just a privately owned company, so nothing can be revealed until something happens. So
I mean, they can always switch to Radeon.
They said they're not interested in doing GPUs.
Yeah, they said they're not interested.
Yeah,
but that's the thing. They can say whatever they want.
True. Yeah.
There is no regulation about what they say. So
yeah, very true.
Yeah, and
But the reason that this is kind of interesting, and Amnon mentioned the crypto stuff, the eBay, the third party market is absolutely flooded with GPUs right now. It's kind of a risky endeavor because you don't know what these cards were used for.
Mhm.
But I'm going to pull the trigger on a used GPU here, and then potentially in the next week.
How much
because
do
I
they
mean,
go
you know
for?
what they've been used for. You just don't know how long.
Yeah, exactly. So that's going to be that's the $1 million question: is what is the status of these cards?
But how much do they go for? I mean, compared to new.
I'm looking at an RTX 3080 right now from EVGA, an FT for the Win 3 edition that's selling for $500. The auction ends in 3 minutes,
And
which is an unbelievable. This card sold
Okay.
for
okay.
$1,400 just 6 months ago.
All right.
This market has absolutely collapsed. And now people are trying to liquidate these cards because they're losing their value. The 4000 series is not far away.
And it's probably
and these
going to
cards
go.
will continue.
It's probably going to go down farther.
Yeah, it will. It potentially will. So if you're in the market for a GPU, it is very much a buyer beware. But eBay right now for a 3000 series card is a pretty good place to be.
Which used to sell for over 1,800, right? So remember that.
Yeah, I mean, these prices are just are ridiculously low.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. We'll wait and see. All right, let's switch gears here. Billionaire Elon Musk accused Twitter of fraud by concealing serious flaws in the social media company data security, which the entrepreneur says should allow him to end his $44 billion deal for the company, according to last Thursday's court filing. Musk,
Wow.
I didn't know that he's the world's richest person now.
He has been for a while.
Oh. Amended his previously filed lawsuit by adopting allegations by a Twitter whistleblower who told Congress on Tuesday of meddling on the influential social media platform by foreign agents, and that they knew about it and they didn't do anything about it and all that. So, it's a lot of stuff is coming out from all
He
this.
is grasping at straws to try and get out of it.
Yeah.
A court is going to require him to buy this company.
Well, we'll wait and see. Well, I'd like to see your crystal ball.
There's no crystal ball. He signed an agreement.
Yeah.
He signed it at a price, and he's just grasping at straws to try and break the contract. The contracts are legally binding, and a district court judge in Delaware, which is where the reason all these businesses are franchised in Delaware is because of their law dealing with things like this. That's why every business operates in Delaware. Specifically because of that.
Right. But allegations of fraud, if they pan out, what happens then?
Well, if they pan out, but there's no evidence to indicate that they're panning out.
Not yet.
Well, I mean, that's why there's a trial, right? So,
well, yeah, but I mean, but the claims that he's making just seem to be nonsense. I mean, he's made this claim of 70% of the users being bots. Maybe true, but they provided him with data, and the data that they wouldn't have provided him with data that bots were 70% of the user base when they claimed in the contract it was 5. And he hasn't made a claim that the data was manipulated or obscured or anything like that. He got the information. That's why it's just, and now there's some whistleblower that they're using as part of, or that he's using as part of this. But the whistleblower's claim is about security and privacy, not about
something else.
Active user base. So he is just trying everything he can to get out of this deal. I think he played himself.
What I don't understand is why doesn't he want Twitter? And which it boils down to probably too simple a question, but why did he make an offer on the company if he didn't have any intentions to buy it? Like,
he does want Twitter. He just doesn't want it at $44 billion or whatever. It's because it's not worth that.
Why did he make an offer for?
Because he's a jackass.
$44 billion.
He's crazy. He is. I mean, he does he does crazy stuff, and I think he thought he was going to be able to wiggle his way out of this, and he's not. Unless there is some real smoking gun that pops up out of nowhere, which I've seen no indication there is, he is going to be forced to legally buy this company.
Has it come out how much Twitter is actually worth? Like 20 billion instead of 44?
It's people estimate between like 20 and 30. Which, $10 billion is a lot more to pay for a company that can't make money. That's the root cause of the problem.
I'm blown away that he made an offer that was so high. That's like
so was Twitter, and that's why Twitter wants to hold him to it, because Twitter's like, yeah, this is a ridiculous
we'll never
deal.
get that. Yeah.
We'll never get this money for it. That's why, because Twitter could say, yeah, you know what, we don't, fine, we'll just forget it. We'll terminate the contract. No, it's a really good deal for them. They want it.
That's so crazy. That's like putting an offer on a house, and you're like, I'm going to put a $2 million offer on this house that's worth like $300,000, and the seller's like, hell yeah, like we'll take it, and then they're like, no, I don't. I'm just kidding.
No, you put a $2 million offer on a house, but you're qualified for 185.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. So,
and it's not his money. It's not all his money.
Well, a very small amount of it is his money. He's got big financial backing.
Yep.
This court situation is apparently being expedited a little bit. I believe in October there's going to be some oral arguments that are going to be made, but it could be by the end of the year that we get, or early next year, that we figure out whether he has to buy this thing or not.
Man, to have billions and billions of dollars to just mess around and
Billions.
buy other companies. If only.
It's bizarre. But I'll tell you what, though, if depending on how this goes out, if he is forced to buy Twitter and refuses to do it or something like that, he's going to hurt himself as a kind of the business guy that a lot of people look up to him as, depending on how he handles this. Because you'll find these big investors like the JP Morgans and Chase that are in this deal now not wanting to fund things with him in the future, depending on how he handles this.
Yep, time will tell.
Yeah.
All right. Here's something else. Verizon Wireless, AT&T, and Comcast were hit with copyright lawsuits accusing them of turning a blind eye to customers who illegally distribute and download pirated films. The production companies seek to force the internet providers to implement policies that provide for the termination of accounts held by repeat offenders and to block certain piracy websites. So some of those studios went together against Verizon, AT&T, and Comcast.
This is 1999 all over again.
Yeah, well, we'll have to wait and see what happens with
This is Napster.
yeah.
Yes.
All right. Nick, are you ready to do specials?
I am.
Let's see. Do I have it?
You should.
I have it.
Sounds like the question should be, Amnon, are you ready for specials?
All right. Ta-da.
So don't you go to Walmart and you're just trying to buy some razors, right? Nothing too wild or too wacky there. And then you run into this situation where you've got the Gillette kiosk with a Windows 10 privacy pop-up, which it obviously did an update. So, it's a wild west out there, folks. You got to, you can't even buy razors without jumping into Windows updates.
You see these a lot, or we used to, in malls where you have all these pillars with computer screens that tell you advertising, show you a map, and you look at it and say, God, come on, somebody Do
You used to see
something.
them in malls, right? In a mall. Now
Yeah.
you're seeing this in a kiosk inside
Yeah.
of a Walmart for a razor. I mean, that's the way that this has transitioned. So
Yeah.
I still
Seeing a
don't
lot-
understand why they keep on using Windows and not some embedded Linux solution.
it's the highlight whole thing is bizarre to me as well. All right, let's get it kicked off here this morning. Staples coming kind of back from the dead. It's been a while. I haven't had a lot of Staples stuff on here, but they've got two really good deals here on two computers. They're only a $10 difference. So we'll start off with the first one, which is the larger of the computers and the newer in terms of processor. This is the Asus VivoBook. This is a 15.6-inch laptop. It's got a full keyboard and a 10-key number pad on the side of it, running a latest gen Core i3 1220p. So this is a mobile processor. The problem with this computer is it just has 8 gigabytes of RAM. So, or 4 gigabytes of RAM, I should say. So, newer processor, but it is a mobile processor and it's only got 4 gigs of RAM. So you're not going to be doing anything wild with this computer in terms of performance or processing. But it is a nice computer. It does come with a 256 gigabyte hard drive. And I do not believe that the RAM is upgradable because it is it's SD RAM, so it's soldered to the board. So what you see is what you get. It's normally $499. You can get it for 30% off for $349 over at Staples. Now, this one is in my opinion, the better of the deals. This is an MSI Modern, which is their laptop brand. And this is a smaller one. This is just 14 inches, and it does not have a numpad associated with it. It is running the last gen Intel processor, so the 11th gen, but it's still running an 1115 G4, which is a nice processor. This one, though, does have 8 gigabytes of RAM and a 512 gigabyte SSD. This is a really nice computer. I'm almost, and I might pull the trigger on this today because I've been looking for something in this ballpark. I've been hoping for a 12th gen processor, but I'm not going to get something 12th gen with the specs for the price that I want.
Well, Nick, looks like the 12th gen one, the Asus VivoBook, you can upgrade, you can add memory up to 12. So maybe that's worth it.
Yeah, so that would be the case. It's a little too big for me, 15.6 inch with the numpad. I don't need that. But this 14 inch one looks nice, and MSI makes really good stuff. So this is normally $650, and it's on sale for $359. This thing is 45% off. I'm likely gonna pull the trigger on this. We'll let you know. But this is over at Staples as well, so you can check that out. Moving on over here to Best Buy. This is a Platinum product, which is a Best Buy brand, which I wasn't aware of. It's assuming it's similar to Insignia. This is a USB-C wall charger. It has USB-A too. This thing will produce up to 47 watts versus out of the USB-C port. So this is more than suitable for charging your laptop or other high-powered device that has a USB-C charger. Between the 47 watts, the device can put out 65 watts total. So the remaining wattage is split between the two USB Type A ports. This is a nice device if you've got a laptop that's got USB-C. You can ditch all the other chargers and just bring this thing around and charge your phone. You can charge your power bank and your laptop with it. So nice device and a really good deal on it. This thing is normally $50, and it is more than 50% off over at Best Buy. You can pick it up for just $22.99. It's on clearance, but it is you do pick it up in store. So I don't believe they have it on the shelves at local stores. Moving on, this is a Roku device that doesn't really get a lot of play. And I don't know why, because this makes a lot of sense for a device. This is called the Roku Stream Bar. And you might say, well, Nick, that looks like a sound bar for a television. Well, it in fact is a sound bar for a television, but it also has a Roku 4K HDR streaming device built into it as well. The Roku 4K HDR is normally like a $50 device or even a $60 device, depending on where you get it and what you get it on. So this is a soundbar and a 4K streaming device in one unit. So the thing is pretty simple. You plug it into the wall with a power adapter. You hook it up via HDMI, and if your TV has eARC, the audio passes through. If not, it's got an optical connection, so you can feed audio back to it. And you get a soundbar with 4 speakers. It's got 2 side-facing speakers and 2 front-facing speakers and a Roku streaming device for just $75. Now, I will note that this is on Woot, which is an Amazon subsidiary, and this is factory reconditioned. So this is not new. It is something open box at a store. The supplier sends it back to Roku. They put all the stuff in the packaging, and then they put it back on the shelf. So likely these devices are new. They just probably were damaged box or something like that. If you need a soundbar and a Roku, I don't know if you'll find a better deal than this. One device that kind of does it all. And then, in the future, if you want to get an upgraded Roku, you can still use this thing as a soundbar because it has an optical input. So you're free to still use it as a soundbar in the future as well. Really neat device. I'm surprised Roku doesn't promote something like this more, because this just seems like a really good buy. It's got mounting holes and everything. You can mount it to the wall. It's a cool device.
Do you know anything about Ethernet connection?
It does not have Ethernet.
Okay, so it's Wi-Fi.
So the back of it has a power cable, optical audio, HDMI, USB, and a reset button. So it will have to work on Wi-Fi. No Ethernet with it.
Well, it has USB, so maybe it's possible.
It's the other way around.
Maybe. I don't know if it works with the dongle. But yeah, just a really, really cool device. So if you're looking for a soundbar and a Roku, check that out over at Woot, which is an Amazon company. This next one is for Katie. This is over at Monoprice. I've got you. Last week we had some wire on sale. And Katie was like, "Oh, I thought it was PLA." So here is some Monoprice Pla Plus, which is what I always print with, which I like. Monoprice has got their 1.75 nanometer, 1 kilogram spool of PLA Plus, which is normally $21. It's on sale 37%. They've got it in black, blue, brown, violet, magenta, light blue, red, and yellow, a whole bunch of different colors. And all of them are on sale for just $12.99 over at Monoprice. So you can check that out. If you've got a 3D printer and you're looking for some new PLA Plus, you can check out this Monoprice stuff.
Nice.
So you can check that out there. Back at it again with Woot. Did anybody know that Amazon Basic makes plug-and-play computer speakers?
What?
No.
Yes. Well, they do. I don't know who's buying computer speakers anymore.
Hey, I have computer speakers.
So do I, but how old are they?
Oh, 10 years old.
Okay. Who is buying computer speakers? Most people now are buying laptops or all-in-ones. Laptop obviously has speakers. All-in-ones have speakers. And if you're buying a desktop, a lot of people don't have speakers. They just use headsets. I also have a pair of Logitech computer speakers here as well.
That's exactly
I did not realize Amazon Basic, however, made these devices. And if you are looking for these are new speakers that Amazon sells. They sell them in 2 different colors, silver they come in one color, silver, and they have a blue LED. They have an inline volume control, so you can control the level on the back of the speaker if you're going to connect it to a device. It is powered via USB, so you can either plug it in via a little 5-volt wall adapter or just power it from the computer directly. It's on Woot for $12.99, but if you're an Amazon Prime member, you get an extra $3 off. So you can get these speakers for just $10. They're normally $20 MSRP. So you can check those out over at Woot.
I might actually have to pick that up because I've got a Chromebook and the speaker and the Chromebook is hot garbage. Absolute
The computer
garbage.
was probably $60, right?
Yeah, it was like 100 or something.
Yeah.
And,
Okay. So I mean, you get
yeah.
you pay hot garbage, you get hot garbage. I
Yeah,
guess. Is the
yeah, yeah.
norm.
And I don't even care the quality. I don't care how crisp it is. I just want to be able to hear my computer when my AC is running, and I can't do that. So,
Well, I mean, Amazon Basic might be your savior.
Yeah.
I kind of felt like I was in a time machine looking at these back to like 2005 with like weird computer speakers for sale. But Amazon's making them and they've got 45,000 reviews. So obviously
Dang.
somebody is buying them. That's over at Woot as well. This next product is also at Woot. I don't know if Amazon is just going through their warehouse and shifting a bunch of stuff over to Woot. Last week on specials, we had a similar product to this. I went back and pulled the specials from last week. We had a Philips dusk to dawn motion sensor. It was just the sensor so that you could set your Philips smart lights to turn on or off depending on dusk to dawn instead of time. Well, this is it's not a dusk to dawn sensor, but it is an outdoor security light. So these are outdoor floodlights. You could pair this with the motion sensor. It's a Philips Hue Ludenier, Ludere, Luder, white outdoor security lights. You mount these on your wall like you would for floodlights. These do require a Hue hub. So unlike some of the bulbs that we've talked about that you can control via Bluetooth, you need a Philips Hue or a Zigbee hub to use a device like this. These are normally $90 and they're on sale for just $59.99, and they are new. So these are not open box or anything like that. So if you're in the Philips Hue ecosystem and maybe you're looking to replace your old outdoor floodlights with something that is smart that you can pair with a motion sensor or a dusk to dawn sensor, this might be a good device for you to check out for $59.99. And then our second to last item is not a joke. This is based on a conversation we had last week. We were talking about these smart flip phones that run, a very basic version of Android. So I found this. It's over at eBay, but it is sold by TrackPhone. So it's on eBay, but it's officially sold by TrackPhone. This is the TCL Flip 2, which is kind of one of the go-to smart flip phones if that's what you're interested in. It's got two different screens on it. It's got a front-facing or a screen that you can see right there that is 4:2 for that screen. And then it's got a little front display that will show you the time and notifications. Unlike iOS 16, Katie, it does not show the weather. So if you're looking for the weather, you're not going to get that.
I'm out.
But this is a TrackPhone device. You choose what case color you want with it. You get the phone. You get a cigarette lighter adapter. You get a battery bank with it. It doesn't say how big the power bank is, assuming it's probably one of the small ones that's just a couple of thousand milliamps. The phone and 1 year of service that's worth either 1,200 minutes, 1,200 texts, or 1,200 megabytes. So you get all of that, a 2-megapixel camera, brand new phone, and it's just $20. That's it. $20 on eBay, free shipping, comes with free TrackPhone. So maybe you're looking for a burner phone. Maybe you're a drug dealer. Maybe this is a good device for you. You get a free power bank with it.
I cannot believe you can get a phone now for $20. That's
$20 with service, Kate. We're not talking about $20 and you got to buy $40 a month cell phone service. $20 a month
and free shipping and handling. Holy Toledo, that's insane.
According to this, eBay have sold just over 2,000 of these, 2,100 of them in the last 24 hours, and over 14,000 of them over the past week. So people are buying. This is normally a $60 product with all of the things, 67% off, $19.99. It's an Alcatel Flip 2. This is an old version of Android. It does not have a fast processor. Buyer beware with that. But if you're looking for a smart,
it's a phone.
Correct. If you want a phone,
my problem is, does it really run Android?
Yes. Yes, it does.
All right.
Speechless.
What version of Android? I don't know, but I know that the Alcatel phones, at least last time I checked, the Alcatel phones run Android. Because this has been the Flip 2, the Alcatel Flip 2 has been kind of the go-to, the go-to kind of off the grid, not smartphone for quite some time. But I do believe it runs Android. I'll check on that after the specials, but I do believe that's the case.
I
Check that
see
out
the
over at
word
eBay.
Android in the specs. It's just that's the thing. It shows as that, and that's all. So feels like not so sure. But
It doesn't matter. It's a phone that you can
Well, it does
dial
matter.
and
no,
talk.
that
No,
so
it is running
there
Android. It
are
is running
burner
Android
phones that are
11,
on
so
the
it
cheap.
is
That's
running
not a
Android.
problem.
Yeah, Android 11 is what it's running.
Android 11, interesting,
Mhm.
very interesting.
So yeah, if you're looking again, drug dealer burner phone. I have no idea. Check it out.
I'm actually starting to think of not like for a phone to have something like this, right? That's connected to the network that provides me wireless connection. I wonder if it does tethering, but that's the thing. It's on track phone, right? So it's their line.
Yeah, I came very close to purchasing this for one reason and one reason only. I have maxed out my cell phone for all of these various services that require text message verification to prove that you're a real person, like creating a new Google account. So
Exactly.
this was a pretty cheap way to do that. It's got 1,200 texts total. And now it does only work for 1 year. It's 1 year of service, so it does end. So it's not like it's lifetime. But yeah, so buyer beware, check it out. It's over at eBay. Finally, here, this is a combo deal for a really, really good price. If you're in the marketplace for a monitor and a GPU, maybe I'm looking at you over here, Katie. You can get the Gigabyte 3070 8 GB PCIe video card, as well as a Gigabyte G27QA 27-inch 165 hertz 2560 by 1440p monitor with a 1 millisecond response time. It supports AMD FreeSync and NVIDIA G-Sync. Both of these devices are on sale for just $599. This is normally like a $900 combo.
Wow.
And it's
Newegg's got it
curved.
listed for $779, but it's more expensive everywhere else. So this is like a $900 combo for $600. The Newegg combo deals are a little weird. Yep.
A 12 27 inch a curved 27 inch screen will set you back $350 at least. So
at least so this has got the monitor itself has got two HDMI 2.0 ports. It's not 2.1, but you can deal with that. But it does have DisplayPort 1.2. So it's got that on it. No problem running 165 hertz. It does also have a USB 3 hub in it as well. So if you maybe are connecting, well, I don't. If you need two extra USB ports, you can use it as a USB hub. And it's got a headphone jack. So if you want to connect those snazzy, here you go. You can buy those Amazon Basic speakers because this thing doesn't have speakers in it, and plug in the USB power and the earphone connector for speakers on it. Both these combo unit $599. Buyer beware over at Newegg as well. They've had some problems over the last couple of months, but you can check those devices out over there. So yeah, there you go. That is specials for this Sunday.
And that looks like a full-length card.
Yes, that is a 3-fan. That is measure your case. You're not going to throw this in any old computer.
Correct. All right, Nick. Thanks.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Let's see. What else is happening? Oh, hey, go ahead.
Sorry, I don't know if this is one of your stories or not, but I saw a video where some teenager, quote unquote, hacked into Uber and got all of the data for it, and he didn't do anything. I guess he didn't do anything malicious. He just got into it, and he got into it through tricking an employee to like log in to the database or whatever. I don't know if that's in one of your articles that you're going to talk about. That's all I have. I don't have any more information.
No, but I mean, he didn't do anything malicious. He did. I mean, the law looks at it. It's malicious.
Oh well, yeah. He broke in,
Yeah.
which is bad. But the video that I read, or not read, that I watched, was saying
The article goes, Uber says there is no evidence that any of its users' private information was compromised in a breach of its internal computer system discovered Thursday. So they said that nothing, but but he was 18 and he knew how to do it.
Yeah. He's like, let me check this out. Let me try to. Hey, Uber.
Now, here's something to worry about, and I know a lot of people are using this. LastPass. LastPass says the attacker behind the August security breach had internal access to the company's systems for 4 days until they were detected and evicted. This is coming from Bleeping Computers. In an update to the security incident notification published last month, LastPass CEO Karim Touba also said that the company's investigation, carried out in partnership with cybersecurity firm Mandiant, found no evidence the threat actor accessed customer data or encrypted password vaults. Although the threat actor was able to access the development environment, our system design and controls prevented the threat actor from accessing any customer data or encrypted password. Still, this is serious.
Is that a company that holds on to passwords or whatever?
Yeah, it's a password.
Yeah, LastPass is a password vault. So you know what KeyPass is?
I've heard them, but I've never used them.
Okay, so a password vault is basically an encrypted database of your passwords.
It's a password manager.
Yeah, and LastPass is probably the widest used commercial one, where you install the software. They have a free offer and they have a paid one, and the password database, your password database, is encrypted with your key, and so theoretically, LastPass doesn't have access to your data unless you remember your key, right? But recently they've been experiencing quite a lot of breaches. I'm guessing they have become the number one target because they are the largest and people have put their trust in them, which isn't a bad thing per se, but once you put the trust in some big company and they are the keeper of secrets, right? They are a very, very interesting target. So another one,
they
keep getting breached.
Yep.
I've used LastPass up until I think 4, maybe 5 years ago, which then I switched to self-hosting my password vault. Now, self-hosting doesn't make me more secure than LastPass, right? I doubt that I can protect my environment as well as LastPass.
Yeah, but who's going to come after
there? Exactly. I'm of no interest to anyone. So as long as I keep to some, basic practices of security and I don't do anything too stupid, I am at no risk for a flyby hacking to happen, right? So that is my protection. It's security by obscurity, basically.
Yep.
Right? But with LastPass, there is that. I mean, if you put your money in the largest bank, right? Then that bank is probably the target for the most interest. And right now, it is lucrative to still rob those banks, right? So
It's always
that's where
lucrative.
we're at. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see what else here. The data of about this is mind-boggling. Since the data of about roughly 1 billion Chinese citizens appeared for sale on a popular dark web forum in June, researchers have observed a surge in other kinds of personal records from China appearing on cybercriminal marketplaces. In the aftermath of that record leak, an estimated 290 million records about people in China surfaced on an underground bazaar known as breach forums in July, according to Group IB, a cybersecurity firm based in Singapore. In August, one seller hawked personal information belonging to nearly 50 million users of Shanghai's mandatory health code system used to enforce quarantine and testing orders. The alleged hoard included names, phone numbers, IDs, and their COVID status. That's 50 million users for the price of $4,000.
What? It's cheap.
I mean, what would we do with it? I don't know. But it's amazing.
That's funny. It's like the actual black market. We talk about the black market, and then it's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, the
Yeah.
dark web.
Yep. Nick is not back. Backup and cloud storage company Backblaze has published data comparing the long-term reliability of solid-state storage drives and traditional spinning hard drives in its data center. Based on data collected since the company began using SSDs as boot drives in late 2018, Backblaze cloud storage evangelist Andy Klein published a report last week, showing that the company's SSD are failing at a much lower rate than its HDD hard drive, the spinning ones, as the drives age.
As
So,
the drives age.
That's nice to know. So SSDs are still
Yeah.
the way to go.
I mean, where's the news?
Well, I mean,
what's new
it's
about
because
this?
no, it's news because it's coming from Backblaze, which is always puts out reports about hard drives.
Oh, right. It's the annual
Yeah.
report.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I missed that spec, please. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey Nick, I sent you a link to about Parler.
Yeah,
Did you read about it?
I
'Cause
did.
I did.
So they're apparently starting their own
ISP kind of.
but it's not though. It's kind of like a CDN that they're starting. It's called the Uncancelable Cloud Service.
Yeah.
But this comes back to what they're doing is
it's called Parliament Technologies.
Yeah. They purchased a company called Dynascale, which was a
Right.
California-based cloud service company that had about 5,000 square feet or 50,000 square feet worth of data center. And they're claiming that they're going to make some sort of uncancelable hosting provider and service provider. But they're still at the whim of whoever the backbone connector is. And then they're still at the whim of DNS and name registrars and things of that nature. And we've seen over the past couple of months, even over the last 2 or 3 weeks, a big internet forum by the name of Kiwi Farms, which I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty on,
Yeah.
has essentially been taken off the internet because they can't find a place to host their domain name. Their Cloudflare kicked them off. Then they went to this Russian DDoS protection website. They kicked them off, and now they're on Tor. They're running in the Onion browser and running kind of underground because they can do that there without having to deal with all of this stuff. So yeah, it's still a very sad state of affairs when websites that are not actually doing anything wrong or just removed from the internet because they're scary and their ideas might be mean. It still is a very bizarre situation. And then you, of course, still have websites in which, child pornography is being shared and things of that nature that are still alive and well and have been for, 20 plus years on the internet. But you've got some of these other websites, mostly politically oriented, being kind of blacklisted and blackballed. It's a very odd situation.
Yep.
I remember last week before we ended the show, I said I had something, but I wanted to wait for Gal to get back.
Yeah.
So as you might know, Gal's back. In case you're just tuning in.
I'm back.
So Gal, you remember a couple weeks ago? Well, at this point, probably about a month or two ago, I mentioned to you that I was having a problem with my Plex, where it was my files were not getting named correctly. It was sticking with the file name. And it just, while it wasn't causing a problem, it just looked stupid. The name of the show would be, obviously, since I'm doing all this stuff legally, I go and I rip a Blu-ray and it's got the file name, so-and-so and so on dot whatever. And it was really pissing me off because I've never had this problem before and it just started happening out of the blue. So I started digging into some stuff and it was hard for me to track down what the issue was because I didn't really know what to search for, which is often the problem with troubleshooting.
Right.
But I eventually got to I went to DuckDuckGo because that solved our Zoom problem. So I went to DuckDuckGo with my problem and I found out it is an agent setting within Plex. So what I did and what was going on is that Plex had a priority set for local media assets, which is the metadata of the local file. So I believe what's happening or what was happening is the movies that I'm ripping have the file name as the title in metadata. So when Plex scans it and finds the metadata, it thinks the name of the movie is movie 1234 dot whatever, because that's what the DVD software is ripping as the title.
Right.
So there's a couple of solutions for this. One is you can change your metadata, which is a fine option. The other is you can prioritize different agents that do this inside of Plex. So that's what I did. Is inside of Plex, and I can show this because I can't imagine I'm the only person that's having this problem. Or maybe I am. But inside of Plex, inside of your server settings, you do have to do this on the computer. You can't do it from an app. On the left-hand side, there is a section where your server is.
Right.
And under there is a setting for agents. And that's where I'm under now. And you can look in this and you can see these are the agents for the different types of content. Movies, shows, artists, albums, photos. And prior to this, local media assets, meaning the metadata, was the top priority. So when Plex would scan a new file, it would say, okay, what does the metadata of the file read? Okay, that's the name of the file. So the Reddit post I read said you either can simply uncheck local media assets or just move the priority down. And since the priority was moved down, I was able to rescan the actually I had to move the file out and move it back in, and then Plex rescanned it. And now all of a sudden it's fixed. So if you're having a problem with metadata and file names not looking correct, which by the way was also causing problems with closed captioning because Plex wasn't identifying the movie correctly. So I got these weird subtitles. This could potentially be the solution to your problem. Go to Plex, go to the settings window, go to agents, and either turn off local media assets or drag the priority down all the way to the bottom, and that potentially could fix your problem. I don't know why it just randomly started happening. I don't know if it was a Plex update that maybe turned it on when it was off. Because I looked, and some of my older files also had the same metadata, but for some reason Plex was at that point prioritizing the other avenues before local media assets. I don't know what changed.
How long have you been running your Plex server?
2015, 2016.
Okay. So back in 2021, I think they removed they changed they switched their default metadata agent and introduced a new one. And I'm guessing that during the upgrade, the top priority one got dropped because that one just disappeared once it was deprecated, and the new one was probably added below, and local was by default second or something like that. So that's my guess. I remember dealing with something like that a while back. So it all sounds very, very familiar, right?
And it's an odd problem to solve because you search Plex names not working, and it's a very hard thing to search because you find a million different problems. Alan is asking in chat, I ripped the series of Vegas. I assume that's a TV show or maybe a movie, and Plex won't recognize it. Other TV show rips Plex will find and play. What's the file? The question would be, what is the file format? And what is the name? I had another issue with another TV series that I legally obtained called Lonesome Dove, which was a CBS miniseries back in the 80s, a Western miniseries, which, by the way, is really good. It's got like Danny Glover and who I'm trying to think who else is in it. Danny Glover, Robert Duvall, really, really good show. The problem was all of the files were named in a way in which Plex was only identifying one of the shows instead of all four of the files because of the naming scheme. So what I did is I just renamed the files, and then they all showed up. So Alan, Plex will pretty much play any media file you throw at it. Check the name of those files. Maybe just rename them to, Vegas. And the scheme I used. Let me see if I can find it because
I mean, there's a page on Plex support where
how to name
states
stuff.
Exactly how to name it. So use their reference. That usually solves 90% of the problems, and the other 10 has to do with the agent settings.
Yeah. So what I did, Alan, was show one either or show one big season 1.01. So try renaming the file to that, the name of the show. You're saying Plex won't recognize it. You mean, so does Plex see the file and it's just named incorrectly, or it doesn't see the file? Because if it's named incorrectly, that's an easy problem to fix. You can just rename it. If it's not seeing the files, check the name of the files. That is very likely the problem.
Also, on that topic, in order to, how should I say, manage metadata, there are some applications that you can use to make your life a bit easier. The best one up until a couple of years ago was called Tiny Media Manager. However, although they were open source and completely free at one time, they have switched into some bizarre freemium model where the application you get is really limited in its scope. So either use a very old version of theirs or use something else. I think there's one called Media Elk, which is like Elk ELK, but ELK, but ELCH instead. These applications, they scan your library and they allow you to manipulate the metadata and save the metadata on the actual files. The benefit is you feed these media files into Plex, for example, or another media, and you get a consistent experience regardless of the scanning method. So the identification, the IMDb ID, all of that stuff will be embedded into the file, and then you have the server just pull it out of the file instead of querying it on on its own. It's a hassle, right? But especially for these problematic files, it can also rename them and make sure that the metadata is clean, and so it makes the experience for the media server a lot smoother. So just another way of solving this.
So Alan seems so. Alan, just does Plex show the files at all? I guess would be my question. I looked up this show. Plex has a show catalog where you can look up shows, and I see this show. It's VEGA Vegas. It's a 70s show. It's not streamable on Plex, but they do have it cataloged with the $ as the name. So that indicates to me that that they know where it's a show that they're aware of, and it's cataloged. So yeah, if it's not showing up, try deleting the $, and then you can, and I found this out when I was dealing with my problem, you can unmatch a show or TV or a movie and rematch it. So you can actually tell Plex, no, this is what show it is. And that can help in a situation like that where the name might be a little screwy. You can tell Plex, this is what it is. This is the data for the show I want you to pull. No, Plex doesn't show it all. Then yeah, it's a file name problem. Try deleting the $ or something to try and get the files to recognize. That's definitely what's going on.
Yeah, put an S instead of the $.
And then match it if it doesn't reconnect itself automatically.
What was it in the PC? If a file started with a $, it's a deleted file that was not deleted yet completely.
No, it wasn't a $. It was an approximate, the tilde.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but again, it was how it was represented on the file system on FAT. It's no longer relevant in NTFS.
Yeah.
So let me show this real quick. So I just unmatched this show inside of Plex. So I unmatched it. So now if I go to it and click match, it will let me select through a couple of things that it thinks it might be based on the file name. And it is in fact The Beatles Get Back. That's the show. And now that I've matched it, it will pull the metadata like it's supposed to. So Alan, if you have to change the name of the file, that you might just have to do that to get it to pick up as to what the actual show is. But Plex is very, very good with allowing you to make some of those changes. You can change the name of the file right inside of Plex, or the name of the series or whatever, which is what I was doing. It was just annoying that every single time I'd have to do that.
Gal, are you back on Plex or are you still?
Oh, I'm sticking with Jellyfin.
I thought you were saying that you'll probably go back.
It's annoying me a bit.
All right.
But I just don't wanna. I don't wanna cave in.
All right. Okay, a couple more things here.
Real quick.
Yeah.
I'll post a link to it in chat. It is a sponsored video, so be advised of that. But Plex actually sponsored a video on Linus Tech Tips this week, and it shows all of the different kind of ways to get up and run a Plex server. And then it's kind of a cool beginner video if you're looking for a very broad overview of kind of what Plex is, how it works, and what some of the options are for you to host Plex and run it, that's a pretty good video to watch. It is sponsored by Plex, so be aware of that. But they do talk about jellyfish in there as well and some of the alternatives and stuff. So that's a pretty good video to check out.
Jellyfin, man. Jellyfin.
Jellyfin. Yeah, jellyfin. Sorry, jellyfish. Yeah, same difference.
Jellyfish.
I also want to note, I didn't check my computer, but I actually got your text message that you deleted. Not on my phone, but Beeper has it.
Oh,
So-
bastards. No.
Yeah,
That's
so
because
if-
iMessage logged it.
Yep. So if you are using Beeper or any kind of third party, whatever messaging tracking thingy, you can't resend your text message.
It's because it's using a bridge. So the second it receives the message, it's translating it over to Beeper.
It'll change because the bridge for Signal or WhatsApp works. So I'm guessing because it's a new feature, and so there's a new signaling control there for deleting that hasn't been implemented yet. People will want it implemented, so it'll.
What did I say, Katie?
Hello,
God
it's
damn,
me.
okay. Yeah, I guess you did.
But you told me your deepest, darkest secrets. You're afraid of the dark.
Don't tell anybody. Okay, interesting.
All right. So, fish. Talking about fish. Damn. Fish
Why are
pig.
we talking about fish?
Fish pig. What a word. Fish pig. A UK-based maker of e-commerce software used by as many as 200,000 websites is urging customers to reinstall or update all existing program extensions after discovering a security breach of its distribution server that allowed criminals to surreptitiously backdoor customer systems. So if your website is using a fish pig e-commerce module, look into it.
FISHFIG?
No, PIG. A fish and a pig. Fish pig.
Oh, fish pig. Okay.
Yeah. And here's something that's probably even will affect more people. Security analysts have found a severe security vulnerability in the desktop app for Microsoft Teams
Oh,
that
man.
gives threat actors access to authentication tokens and accounts with multi-factor authentication turned on.
Ouch.
The attack does not require special permissions or advanced malware to get away with major internal damage. Connor Peoples at cybersecurity company Vectra explains in a report this week. He said that the researcher adds that by taking control of critical seats, like a company's head of engineering, CEO, or CFO, attackers can convince users to perform tasks damaging to the organization. Vectra researchers discovered the problem in August 2022 and reported it to Microsoft. However, Microsoft did not agree on the severity of the issue and said that it doesn't meet the criteria for patching. With a patch unlikely to be released, Vectra's recommendation is for users to switch to a browser version of the Microsoft Teams client. By using Microsoft Edge to load the app, users benefit from additional protections against token leaks. The researchers advise Linux users to move to a different corroboration suite, especially since Microsoft announced plans to stop supporting the app for the platform by December.
Okay, so the problem isn't Microsoft Teams. Okay, it's wider than that. It's just Microsoft Teams is probably the highest profile. The problem is with the Electron framework, which Microsoft Teams uses.
Mm-hmm.
It's not only Microsoft Teams. There's a lot of other applications that use it. Ferdy, Roblox, sorry, RAM box. Sorry.
Didn't we talk about this then?
We talked about another issue, but here it is more severe
Because it's Teams.
No, because attackers have figured out a way of easily getting that data.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, this sucks major, but I would say the problem Electron framework, which is great, has been a problem since its inception. Electron framework is basically a sort of think of it as a browser that runs only a single application. So it provides a layer that you package your application with, right? And you run the executable, everything about the executable, the browser executable. You can control its configuration, but it's a software you didn't write that you ship with your software. Okay, that's I hope I make it clear. It's sort of a black box that you send with your application, and your application runs on that black box. And so the problem with Electron from the beginning was it's heavy. It's resource heavy, much more, or at least as a browser. And usually the applications running within an Electron box, they can also run inside a browser, right? The benefits of running it as an Electron app versus a browser is if you close the browser, you close the app. This way you have it separately. You can, in Windows, you can have that app show up in the system tray on its own. It will have its own notification. It won't be mangled up with the rest of the browser notification, etc. Stuff like that. It'll be a separate app. But the price, resource-wise, is always this heavy thing. Now, on top of that resource-heavy aspect, it is the least secure browser you can run, basically, right? So that's where the recommendation comes of, hey, don't run it as an app.
Yeah.
Yeah, this sucks. The only thing I can recommend at this point to anybody who still wants Teams in a separate application is use something like Ferdium. Ferdi used to be the open source option, which allows you to run these apps on their own. Ferdi is no longer supported. Now there's a fork of it, Ferdium. That's probably the best solution. It's still an Electron app, but it works a bit differently. It doesn't store any credentials.
Good. Yeah.
It does cache tokens exactly like a browser, but it's just like that, exactly like a browser.
What does this mean for companies that use Teams? Because every single company I've worked for, we all go through Teams.
They are running around like headless chickens right now. And as the article stated, Microsoft is planning to phase out the Electron app, but that hasn't happened yet.
So only for Unix, for Linux.
So here's the thing: Slack. You know about Slack? Slack is probably the best known collaboration platform that started everyone moving to solutions like these, right? Slack used in the past an Electron-based app, and they've changed. They were fed up with how resource heavy it was and how slow it was to operate, and how inefficient that solution was, and they rewrote the platform. And I'm guessing eventually that is what we'll see with Teams. But until then, probably the recommendation that Microsoft will come out in a week or two is, hey, run our Edge browser, you can set up a separate profile if you want to, and run the application as an Edge application. And that will allow the versatility of an app inside. And all they'll need to do on their end is make sure that Electron specific features, because everything is loaded from the web server, everything in the app.
So it's
right?
protected kind of.
Right. So all they need to do, they need to make sure that the web app, when it's hooked up to the Edge user agent, still has all of the features switched on. Once
So
you do
really,
that-
it's up to the user. Individual user can use it as such. I mean, if Katie has to get,
you can start doing it right now.
yeah. So it doesn't matter what the others are doing. You protect. I guess you protect yourself by running it as an Edge application right now.
Yeah, just open
Yeah,
your
okay.
Teams
right.
and browse through it through Microsoft Edge.
Yeah.
And if you set it as a bookmark, you
Yeah.
can set that bookmark as an application, and then it has an icon of its own and its
Yeah.
window of its own. It just can't be minimized to the.
This is an
taskbar.
absolute headache because
I agree.
because Teams is one thing, but OneDrive is connected to Teams, and so here's how. So I
No, but OneDrive is a separate application.
yeah, but so here's the thing. So we used to be able to access Teams and OneDrive on my local computer, on my personal computer for work, but they changed
Right.
their policy where they don't want you to use your personal computer. You have to use your work computer for security reasons, blah,
Right.
blah, blah, blah. But now if that's compromised and I can't access.
No, it's not.
Oh, it's not? Okay, maybe I just
It's
don't
the
understand.
application for Teams that the desktop application for Teams that has been compromised. You can still browse through it through the browser, so you can still get the Teams functionality and all that through the browser.
I think Katie's worried about her OneDrive.
No, it has nothing to do with it.
Okay.
If
Uh,
you have been breached, your OneDrive, it's the same account that has been breached. But if you're not using the Teams application, then you are in no risk of being breached.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
We can discuss this later.
Let me ask Nick something. Nick, do you mind if I put the link to the front row in the chat?
No.
Okay. I put a link in the chat, and that's a show that Nick did on PBS. Very interesting. Here's some other news. Google has canceled the next version of its Pixelbook laptop
Oh my God, no!
and dissolved the team responsible for building it. They just
this is
Wow.
Yep. So there's not going to be anything like that anymore. Here's something very kind of exciting. This is about Intel in Israel. So the Intel Technology Tour 2022 in Israel, where the company is sharing new information about its latest products, much of it under embargo until a later date. However, the company did share a slide that Raptor Lake is capable of operating at 6 gigahertz at stock settings, and that it has set a world overclocking record at 8 gigahertz, obviously with liquid nitrogen. Here's our deep dive into the 13th gen Intel processors. Intel also shared impressive performance projections for single and multi-thread performance. 6 gigahertz. Interesting.
And they say it couldn't be done.
And they say it couldn't be done. Now, here's something that all of us are going to be interested in. Using your Google Assistant to control your home may soon become a lot simpler, according to leaks. which allege that custom quick phrases are coming to the Google Nest Hub Max.
Ooh.
For,
Wait,
for the majority of the time, if you want to get your Google Assistant to do something, you must first say it's wake word, hey Google, before issuing your command. Quick phrases do away with the wake word, and once enabled, you can instruct Google to turn on the kitchen lights without saying anything before
man,
that.
that is terrible.
You can
That
now
is
you can.
terrible.
Why?
Because it means that it's no longer waiting for the wake word to send
Oh, it
the
means it's
information
always
online.
listening. Yeah.
It
Yeah, but
is always online.
I
Well,
thought
it
was
is-
always listening anyways.
It's always
No.
listening anyway.
Yeah, but it's not always online. That's two different things. Right?
Oh.
Waiting for the wake word, yeah. The electronic circuit connected to the microphone is always waiting, but it's waiting for that phrase, for that those wake words. And before that, it does not send anything online. But now they're saying you can set up anything you want, right? And will act.
Yeah.
And that means we need to listen and send everything online always, because the processing is done online always.
Right.
Well, maybe it's like a hybrid. And what I mean by that is,
and it's only for certain phrases. It's not.
Yeah. They're it sounds like they're expanding the wake word pool. So like if you so that way, because if it was listening all the time, then whenever you're having a conversation with somebody and you talk about lights, but it's not necessarily lights in your house, and the lights start flickering in your house, and it's going to be very annoying. So if you can program specific phrases that it will listen for those specific phrases, then that would be useful.
Yeah, but that's the real question, right? How are they going to do it?
I would like to see something like that. Say the wake word, tell it what to do, and maybe within 10 seconds of that, you can say something else.
10 seconds. That's a long
no, you can
time.
Well, 5
that.
seconds.
Amnon, you can still do that.
How?
At least with the
Echo
ecosystem, right? Didn't mean the sound to have it sound that bad. At least with the Alexa ecosystem, right? Then you can set up. It's called follow-up phrases. You just go to your app, you switch it on.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell it to do 5 things. You know, turns the light on, switch off the kitchen, and turn on the TV, and it'll do it. You don't need to wait for it and call the wake word again. You can actually say it in series.
So if you tell it to do something and it didn't get it, or there was noise, you can just repeat it without saying the wake word again?
I don't know about the noise thing, because I think it needs to fail before it'll try the next thing.
Okay.
But I think you can issue command. I have at least in one room where I issue commands in series. I don't wait and say again the wake word, again the wake word, the A word, the A word, the A word, right? So,
no, the only problem that why I was saying it'll be nice is because many times, I mean, we'll be sitting in the living room and the TV is on and the Echo is in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And it may not hear. And you have to say it again a little louder. And then it works.
So turn on follow-up mode.
I'll try it.
And it waits for a few seconds for the follow-up command.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. So it's not that it will wait.
Amazon already does it. That's what I can say.
All right. So interesting. Yeah. So I didn't think about the fact that it's going to be listening all the time, kind of. Yeah. Good point. Good point.
That is, yeah. I hear stuff like this, and I go like, didn't you have enough trouble up until now proving your trust to the people, right? Trying to help them trust you, and now you go do this, and you market it in a way of, hey, we'll always listen, right? It's like, what are you doing?
Oh. All right, and the last thing that I want to mention today for people who are more into terminals and things like that. The makers of the secure telnet client Putty, it's an old program, it's still going, also sell a service monitoring company, a service monitoring company security services. In this July, Mandiant Managed Defense identified a novel spearfish methodology. According to a post on the company's blog, the threat cluster established communication with the victim over WhatsApp and lured them to download a malicious ISO package regarding a fake job offering that led to the deployment of the airdry.v2 backdoor through a Trojanized instance of the Putty utility. This activity was identified by Mandiant Intelligence, staging directory's mission, which searches for anomalous files written to directories commonly used by threat actors. Where they told you to get that ISO, they don't mention. But if it did come up from anywhere on the company's website, if they uploaded something there, that's bad. But you need to check your version against what's at the company and see what the company says about which version is safe. You can always talk to somebody and tell them to download Windows from a weird website, and if they do it, yeah. It's just be careful. That's all. All right. Anything else, guys?
I had
No, sir.
one thing.
Yeah.
If I can find it quickly.
So
So I saw this on Reddit. A food delivery robot. In California they have
Yeah.
these self-driving cars delivering. So yeah, it's a Vice article, and the title. I just read the title, but I thought we
it got you.
A food delivery robot casually drives under police tape through active crime scene.
I love that.
This isn't a self-driving car. It's a
It's a little bitty
it's a
thing. Yeah.
child-sized robot, basically.
Yeah.
A cart on wheels. But yeah, that's hilarious. We stop for no one. Yeah.
Yeah, they need to build
I
that.
haven't read into the details. It might be just benign, but it was an awesome title.
Yep. It's just that they need to add more and more safeties to the software. That's all. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I was just going when you were looking, I was going dum dum dum. And then I said, oh boy, yeah, now we're gonna get another strike. But anyway. Nick?
Hi.
Anything?
No, sir.
Katie?
Nope.
All right.
All good.
Again, that link that starts with PBS, where is it? Now I lost it. Yeah.
PBS.org.
www.pbs.org. That's a link to a show called Front Row, which Nick participated in a couple of weeks ago. Interesting. All right. Well, thanks, guys. It was fun. It was good, even without being on YouTube.
What, you can't stream on YouTube anymore?
And not until tomorrow. I sent
Wow.
you the email they sent me.
Yeah, I know. I didn't realize that. I didn't read the full thing
Yeah.
to see that they got rid of your streaming.
And
privileges.
I went and looked at the video that they removed. And that professor, I mean, she's a professor, she's a PhD, was talking about what is it? Glyphosate? Whatever the stuff in Roundup the bad stuff. And she was saying that it could also be a factor that affects COVID. And they decided that this is not something that is agreed upon, and they removed it. And I can't stream on YouTube for a week.
Oh, you were put in timeout.
Yep. So first of all, I
timeout.
replaced the link on the on demand with the link from Internet Archive, which I also stored there. So everything is working there. It was, I mean, if they did it for any longer period, I mean, here we did a show today. Anybody missed YouTube? I didn't. It's just like the newspaper, which we stopped getting because they screwed up, and now Kathy got used to it. Okay, no paper, big deal.
That's why you stream from multiple platforms.
Yeah. And I'll start looking into more, and I may even create one on one of our servers. I'll see. It'll be interesting. But anyway. Okay. So thanks, Katie.
No problem.
Thanks, Gal. I hope you feel better.
I feel better, thanks.
And thank you, Nick.
No, thank you.
Oh, thank you. And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Dana, Dina, Eleanor, Sarid, Yaakov, and Yael. Thanks, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. Again, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. Nick is on Wilmington's 980 The Wave and 107.9 FM. You can just tell your Echo device to play 980 The Wave. And you can always go to the recordings at nickcraig.com. And Tuesday at 7 p.m., Nick and Brian do the Infection Podcast on Twitch or survival game, gaming news. So Tuesday, 7 p.m., twitch.tv/Infection Podcast. Enjoy it. See you next week.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.